you could tell that people listening to that album got a really good idea of what they wanted their sound to be like. Because by the time we get to the middle of 1988, you have Face and L.A. Reid and Daryl Simmons working with Bobby Brown on Don't Be Cruel. You have Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, brilliant musicians and trendsetters in their own right, doing Any Heartbreak with New Edition. I mean, those are great New Jack Swing albums, but Make It Last Forever opened the door for everybody else to walk through. What's going on, everybody? You're right on time for another ride on the Groove Line with your host, Chris Stevens. Hopefully you all are doing well out there. This is day number 5. Yes, day number 5 of the BMM 30 series. If this is your first time tuning into the Groove on the Groove Line, it's a music YouTube channel / podcast. And June is Black Music Month. So what that means is for 30 days, I'll be talking about different artists, different genres, different albums, songs that have an importance or significance in Black music history since June is Black Music Month for 30 days. So 5 down, 25 to go. So that means we're not even a quarter of the way done yet, but we'll get there. We'll get to the finish line together. I'll have some guests joining me later on this month, and very excited to, continue this podcast beyond June, of course. Don't forget to subscribe and tap the notification bell so you're notified of all the new content that drops on this channel. And don't forget to like and comment on the videos. That gets the algorithm popping and more eyes and ears can be on this channel. And, we can have a good conversation in the comments. So don't be shy. All right. That being said, for this Throwback Thursday, we're going to throw it back to the beginning of New Jack Swing and the album that started it all. On November 24th, 1987, Keith Sweat came out of nowhere. Well, technically, but it came out of nowhere with Make It Last Forever, Teddy Riley's first foray into R&B as a producer, and the results created a whole new genre known as New Jack Swing. So we're going to talk about Make It Last Forever in at least great detail for what I want to do. I'm not going to give you guys a whole hour of me talking about Make It Last Forever. I would need 2 or 3 other people to help me with that, but we're going to just give you guys a nice summary of the album. Most of it is produced by Teddy Riley and written by Teddy and Keith Sweat. Keith Sweat had written Don't Stop Your Love already, and I Want Her was something that was already a work in progress. Teddy just finalized it. And there is a cover of the Dramatics In the Rain that, of course, was written by the late Tony Hester. So it's interesting how this all came about because Keith and Teddy were in dueling competing bands in Harlem in the mid to mid 1980s. So when Keith got his record deal, he went looking for Teddy in the projects and Teddy was shooting dice. So Keith went and joined the dice game and took everybody money but Teddy's. So Teddy was like, I don't do R&B, because remember this time he was really heavy with Kool Moe Dee because he had done the Wild Wild West, How You Like Me Now, Go See the Doctor, I Go to Work, all of that good stuff. Like this was Teddy Riley was a hip hop head at first, and him getting into R&B kind of sort of cemented his legacy a little bit as one of the greatest producers to ever do it. And we wouldn't have gotten to that point if he had kept turning down Keith Sweat, who said, you have got to help me do this album. You've got to help me do this album. And Teddy's like, I don't want to do R&B. And then, of course, Keith was like, you got to do it. And they ended up doing it. And the album starts off with Something Just Ain't Right. It's like one of the most paranoid songs ever. It's like Backstabbers for Gen Xers, basically. If Backstabbers by the OJs was of a boomer generation or the greatest generation, then Something Just Ain't Right was Backstabbers for Gen X, pretty much. So, Keith starts off, toss and turn, and can't sleep at night. They tell me you've been cheating on me. Tell me it's a lie. He's just like trying to save face, as it were, like, please don't be, cheating on me and all of this other stuff. It's an upbeat song about cheating. I mean, some of the best songs about cheating and heartbreak seem to have a danceable beat behind it. I don't know what the science is behind that, but it's a very interesting thing to take note of. I'm just going to talk about my favorite song now and then skip around to the other ones because there's really no skips. I mean, you can listen to it in order. You can shuffle it. It really doesn't matter. But if you want the full idea of what New Jack Swing was going to become, then Make It Last Forever is absolutely your album. It's absolutely your jam. You won't be disappointed, depending on how you feel about Keith's voice, honestly. because there are people who think that Keith Sweat can't sing. There are some people who think he's a great singer. There are some people that feel like Keith Sweat. I mean, there was actually an argument on social media asking, does Keith Sweat have 5 certified hits? And I'm like, he's got 5 on Make It Last Forever alone. I mean, like literal songs that people of a generation remember. I just mentioned Something Just Ain't Right. And I'm going to talk about How Deep Is Your Love. How Deep Is Your Love has this ridiculous bass line. I don't know which drum program Teddy used. I don't know if it's the Lin. I don't know if it's a Roland, but I know that drum sound just sets up a nasty synth bass that just wobbles and thunders. And if you want to impress people with your sound system, be it in the car or in the house, you definitely put on How Deep Is Your Love. How Deep Is Your Love is also a Paranoid type of song, as it were, because talking about, you run your fingers through my hair. You tell me you love me. Like, again, say what you will about Keith's voice, but people liked it and still like it. But How Deep Is Your Love is my favorite song off of Make It Last Forever, because it's something that you can ride to, you can take a walk to, you can vibe to, even though it's another one of those songs that just reeks of heartbreak, because he's asking this girl, how deep is your love? Not in the Bee Gees sense, but just, well, actually, kind of, yeah, maybe it is. I mean, it's the same title, but Drew Hill had one too. I mean, how deep is your love? Apparently, is a popular question to ask a woman. How deeply do you feel for me? Go figure. But yeah, how deep is your love is my favorite off of that one. Make It Last Forever, of course, the title track featuring Jackie McGee is one of those ballads that it's not even a ballad really, but it's still a love song that people of a certain generation just gravitate to, and they're not going to let it go. You'll probably Make It Last Forever from Gen X's cold, dead hands, and for good reason too. I mean, it's just a wonderful song. I mean, the instrumentation sets it up lovely. You got Keith singing. You got Jackie McGee coming in real strong on the second half of the first verse, and it works. And then you have that unmistakable bridge. Your touch is wonderful. Your love is so marvelous. Joy, that's what I feel when I'm with you. And it just goes on and on. Like, it just keeps ascending. And it's probably one of the best bridges of the decade, of the 80s. Make no mistake about it. It's definitely one of the best bridges of the decade. Like, you just that's a bridge that people who are in love and have been in love for a very long time, because remember, this album came out tail end of 87, took over most of 1988, and people just gravitated to that and still do. And you've also got Right Way and the Wrong Way. Now, this is where we start to get a little helter-skelter with it, because Right Way and the Wrong Way, it calls back to a song the Stylistics did in 1970 called You're a Big Girl Now. You could probably get away with a song like You're a Big Girl Now, No More Daddy's Little Girl in 1970, 1971. You could get away with it in 1987, 1988. You're not getting away with it in 2025. You're just not. I'm sorry. But it's interesting, but Keith and Teddy built Right Way and the Wrong Way around that phrase pretty much. It starts off with, you're not a little girl, you're a woman. And it's like, are you sure about that? Because you wouldn't have to tell her that if she was a grown woman. So it was just like, questionable. Very, very questionable. But it's one of the, songs, another one of those songs that people just, you're not gonna get them to let go of it. And I found it interesting that Teddy played the sax part on the keyboard, because I thought that was a muted saxophone, but no, that is a synth saxophone that Teddy Riley is playing on the bridge. It's like, wow, very creative, very creative. And it's one of those songs that people are just not going to let go of. Another one they're not going to let go of is I Want Her. Now, I Want Her, when I mention songs that get people of a certain age on the dance floor, that is another one. That is another one. And it's something that you're just not going to be able to beat if you're in an 80s party. And the song that closes out the album, I found it very surprising that with an album that's full of romantic sort of sentiments and sort of mid tempos, that you close out the album with an absolute workout called Don't Stop Your Love. And Keith Sweat had done that before Teddy Riley got involved in the picture. So Keith Sweat was already a great musician and songwriter and producer before he got with Teddy Riley. Teddy Riley just helped him firm things up. But Don't Stop Your Love, I don't know who can sit still when that song is on. It just doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. And the whole album, again, you can run it from track 1 through track 8 and not feel left out, feel like any meat was left on the bone or anything was left on the table, so to speak. And you could tell that people listening to that album got a really good idea of what they wanted their sound to be like. Because by the time we get to the middle of 1988, you have Face and L.A. Reid and Daryl Simmons working with Bobby Brown on Don't Be Cruel. You have Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, brilliant musicians and trendsetters in their own right, doing Any Heartbreak with New Edition. I mean, those are great New Jack Swing albums, but Make It Last Forever opened the door for everybody else to walk through. And Teddy Riley and Keith Sweat deserve a ton of credit for taking a chance on something new, because as much fun as R&B was in the 80s, you could tell there was a point around 85, 86-ish that people were starting to get kind of hungry for a new sound. And by the time we get to 1987, of course, Mike comes out with Bad, and it is, once again, dropping the album the same year as Michael Jackson probably had to be trying to go for an MVP award the same time as LeBron James or Aaron Judge or Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes. It was like, damn, what are we really doing here? Are we really trying to compete with these people? But Make It Last Forever ended up becoming an album that is the godfather of New Jack Swing. And those of us who grew up listening to New Jack Swing, we just had great times listening to that music. And then as adults, we go back with a critical ear and listen to it. It's like, yeah, this started it all. This absolutely started it all. And to think, because Teddy Riley was not interested in doing R&B, we almost missed it. So shouts out to Keith Sweat for his persuasion, and shouts out to Teddy Riley for actually deciding to go ahead and do it, because that's how we got New Jack Swing. And boy, are we grateful for that. And that's going to do it for day 5 of the BMM 30 series here on the Groove Line. Greatly appreciate y'all's time as always. Contact information will be in the description below. So will a link to Make It Last Forever on Spotify that you can listen to at your own leisure. And be sure to leave a comment what you think about the album. What are your thoughts? What are your memories of Keith Sweat's Make It Last Forever? We'd love to hear from you. So thank y'all for watching. Day 5 is in the books. See y'all on Friday. For day 6, there's going to be Philly Friday. That's probably going to be a series for the rest of the month, maybe for the entirety of this podcast. Philly Fridays, but yes. So stay tuned. Philly Fridays is going to be something I think you'll enjoy. So thank y'all for riding with me once again on the Groove Line. Greatly appreciate y'all. Till the next time we ride, y'all be good or be good at it.